So I'm Dave Yates, I'm the resourcing team leader for trainees, so we're going to specifically talk about graduates, interns, school leavers, and trainees at Grant Thornton. For a bit of context, we're a professional services firm, it's an accountancy firm. We hire quite a lot of sort of young, early careers people. So we're around 500 if you include some work experience as well, so quite a lot. We get about 11,000 applications a year, so we're talking quite big numbers. So try and bring some context for you. But before we dig into all the detail, I'm going to tell you a little story about my doggy Alfie. So there he is. Thought I'd get your attention, it's the last one, and everyone needs some pick up, I think. So Alfie does everything with me and my fiance. He runs with me, he goes abroad with us, he does everything with us. He's a good dog. He had an accident recently, quite a bad accident. He actually, you can see it there, he broke his front leg, he fractured it really badly. So bear with me here, by the way, it's not a talk about dogs. Although it might be quite fun. But he was chasing the ball with his dog walker as well, and he had a really, really bad accident. So he was rushed in, and essentially the vet called, so we need to get his talks, it's really serious, it was a really serious fracture. And so we need to rush him into surgery now, like he's got to go now. And you've got a choice. We've got Grant's a bit of an overstatement, but we've got a branded surgeon, a specialist surgeon, either in Sheffield, this guy's in Birmingham. He said, we could rush him down there now in Birmingham. He's a brand, he's a specialist, he's an expert. We've got a local guy who can do it like within the hour. He's here. He's very, very good, and he wants to speak to you. So I said, okay, let me have a chat, let's have a chat. So he spoke to me and he said, look, this is a really serious operation. I know what I'm doing, I've done these operations before, but I'm not the expert, I'm not the brand that the other guy is. But he coached me through the process. So maybe you can see where I'm going with this, I'm not sure. The operation started to happen, and he said it's going to be between 3 and 5 hours, and we're going now. Okay, right, I'm in Manchester, so I'm on the way home, I'm coming in on the way. So we got regular updates, I got sort of email updates as well from the vet surgery, and I got some phone calls. And then after the surgery, which actually took around 5 hours in the end, I was invited into a community as well. And I was put in touch with other dog owners that actually have something very similar by my vet practice, and I was given coaching on hydrotherapy and all crazy things about to keep a Springer Spaniel still, because he's crazy, obviously. And keeping him still for the next 8 weeks is going to be an absolute nightmare. But I'm in a community, and people are talking to me about it, which is great. I actually came out with a really positive experience of my local vet practice and this kind of local surgeon. The community that's around me is working with me and my friends and my family to actually help him. This sounds very dramatic, by the way, so I know he's a dog, but he means a lot to us. So. I felt valued, engaged, and actually genuinely my preconception of the vet surgery that we used and the local surgeon were completely smashed. So I kind of used that as a bit of as a story to remember the way that we at Grant Thornton like to think about this. So I have a bit of personal experience with this. It's not job hunting, it's not the same. But there's a real close synergy, I felt. So, Grant Thornton, a bit of context of why we have to do things a bit differently and why we focus on candidate experience and all the stuff I've spoken about. I'll go into a bit more depth. But essentially, we're working I've spoken on a lot of tables about this today, and a lot of people are agreeing. It's a really saturated market. We're in professional services, similar to a lot of other kind of industries as well. Actually, it's a bit cheesy, but there's a real battle for talent going on. Things are massively changing. The jet they come out with now is like 37,000 on average. We're seeing less people go to uni, less people actually, kind of get involved in that. We've got school leaver uptake is growing, so the world is massively changing, but the competition is absolutely huge. And you may or may not know Grant Thornton. We're like the 5th biggest accountancy firm, so it's really, we're not in the top 4 or in the magic circle. Whatever you want to call it in different industries. So we're not quite there, but we do things really, really differently, and our proposition is really, really different. But we know our brand isn't PwC's, it isn't KPMG's, it's not Deloitte. So we were on campus, 3 or 4 years ago, say, come work for Grant Thornton, we're great. People are like, you're Grant Thornton, if I want to be an accountant, I'm going to get a Deloitte, I'm going to get a KPMG or whatever. So we were seeing that. Really isn't, we don't have that strong brand, which I think is growing now. We are seeing some more sort of some changes because we've sort of implemented a different way of working. But right now, this is all connected to our purpose as well, shaping a vibrant economy, and that's what we're all about. And we want to tap into a diverse talent pool, so that's been a really big driver for all of this. So to kind of get there, we introduced, and this is before we got to the kind of candidate experience side of things, we were quite brave and introduced a few big changes. One of them was the removal of academic barriers entirely for our sort of trainee population. Now, it's not a complete removal of it. We have a balanced scorecard, so things like academics will be one, professional experience will be another, personal achievements will be another. I think it was balanced. So if you, for instance, came out with a 2-2, but you were great on other things, it's fine. It's all about finding that diverse talent pool. And it's really helped us to become a social mobility champion. So I'm not going to talk about that too much today, but that's kind of part of the context. So the scorecard removal of the academics has really helped us get from a sort of a shift in our approach. So we've gone from really genuinely sifting and looking at these 10 to 12,000 applications and saying, gosh, we need to sift this down, to really setting the candidates up for success and hopefully getting the best out of them as they go along. So a supportive kind of nurturing environment, which again is quite easy to say and easy to talk about, but I'll go through some of the tangibles that we've actually done to switch that around. So we do definitely pride ourselves on how we unlock potential. That's one thing that we're really keen on. And I'm still working on it, still evolving, so all of this is a kind of evolving beast. So, 4 C's. We made some great decisions. We recognised we had to do something different. We were never going to attract the best talent in the market. No way, not with our brand. Strategy was born and it's evolving. The 4 C's are communities, coaching, champions, and then we'll talk commercials as well. So I'll kind of not dwell too much, but we'll kind of go through these and I'll give you some tangibles of actually how we've done it. So communities, this has been our single biggest success for sure. So we have different communities. We've created 2 communities we have an internal system called Jive, similar to Gamma, same sort of thing, it's basically internal Facebook. Jive's brilliant actually, we call ours Jam, don't know why. So we've got I've applied and I'm joining. These are external focus groups that we manage. So we have tons of internal groups like I'm sure you all do, but these are external groups that we actively invite people to. So once they've gone through the screening, we invite them to I've applied. That's the community they're in, they're straight in it. And then once they're hired, they're switched over to I'm joining. So we've got these 2 clear communities. And what they do really, and they have won tons of awards. We did this a couple of years ago, before a lot of people were doing it, is in both communities, we actively encourage peer-to-peer networking. Everything is on there, literally. People post, I'll show you some examples, people post about our assessment process, and we're absolutely okay with that. It's really scary, and you've got to be really brave, but essentially everything's out there. It's like, they say what sort of questions you might be asked at the digital interview, it's all out there. But we figured with Glassdoor, with Wikijobs, it's out there anyway. We're controlling this essentially, but we don't kind of control it, but it's kind of, it's just there, and it really allows them to coach each other. So we get involved, we put posts there, we talk to them, we answer their questions. If they have a question like I'm stuck at this point, absolutely we'll answer publicly and say, yeah, give us a shout, we'll sort this out, it's really unusual, whatever. But most of the content on there is actually those guys coaching each other. So someone might say, oh, I've got my digital interview coming up, any tips? And people will just give them tips and like and comment, and it's a brilliant network where they're just helping each other out. And we're really confident that we'll spot the potential because they don't know the answers. So yes, they might know some of the questions we're going to ask, but the answer can be, they don't know what we're necessarily looking for, so we're okay with it. It prepares our new joiners as well. So we do tons of stuff on there around, I know there's Facebook groups that do this, but there's so much flash sharing, holiday sharing, getting them ready for pre-joiner events. But we can talk to them about events in their local area as well, about vibrant economy events they can attend, about the buddy system that we've got. So we can use both these communities to really start to build brand advocacy, and it genuinely works. We actually, I'll talk about it later on, but some of the best feedback we get is from candidates who say, I didn't get the job with you, but I learned loads, and actually I'm still talking to some of these guys. It's a community which, I think we hoped it would be good, but it's way surpassed our expectations. It gets them collaborating, it gets them talking early to peers and colleagues, and it gets us talking to them in a more informal way as well. It's a different generation we're trying to attract now. We've talked a bit already about millennials and what's happening with millennials, and you've got to be transparent, you've got to kind of be out there, and we are. It's very scary to think about it, but it's absolutely worked for us. And we are looking to roll this out into our experience hire world as well. So we're quite new in the journey there. We're talking about communities that we can build, and it might, it's not this doesn't necessarily work if you're hiring directors or partners, but there's got to be a variation of this that gets them talking, that gets them networking. We're going to introduce a kind of The guys that don't join us, that are in the kind of I've applied stage, that don't go into the I'm joining phase, we're going to work with that population, keep the network going and keep the community going. And these aren't guys that we're going to talk to about jobs, because really they're going to go into a training contract for 3 to 4 years. But we're just going to keep talking to them, and then we're in their mind later on in their career, and these guys are going to, a lot of them are going to go on to do great things. And they'll hopefully remember that we were good to them, we gave them some good advice and their colleagues and peers around us. So some examples. This is one of the I've applied one. A post I put the other day. What if I'm not successful? We just say, here it is. This is what happens. So we kind of some of the content is just totally transparent and open. We have campus community managers as well. So I'll talk to you about them in a second. They're our champions. So on our target uni campuses and target schools, we have like ex-interns or ex-12 placements that go back and they work for us as talent scouts, and they're available to ping questions to meet up for a coffee or whatever, so that's quite handy as well. Some more content, just it's useful to see, I think. We regularly get guys blogging about their assessment. They call it assessment centre, we call it assessment day anyway. The experience they get, and they talk about what to expect and what to prepare and what to do. So again, it's kind of all out there. Application to offer, what happens next, how to prepare, that sort of stuff. So this is the sort of content that we're driving. Well, we don't actually drive it too often. A lot of the time they drive the content, which is great. It's really low touch for us as a team. We'll take a day a week just to go on there and answer a few questions and drive a bit of content every now and then, but actually it does self-serve, which is what we wanted because we're a lean team, so it really helps us. A bit more assessment day advice, tips from our video interview, online test preparation guidance. And a lot of this is actually coming from, if you see these these aren't guys that work for me, these are guys that are just applying, these are just candidates in our process. So it's great. And they answer each other's questions, like I say, which is amazing. I'm joining slightly different content, as you can expect, they've been making off. So I'm just leaving off a lot now. We have day in the life is becoming a big thing for us, and that's on the next page. We regularly mention people. So before their assessment day, we would mention so-and-so, say good luck, and then we would regularly mention them when we join them, when we invite them into the I've joined group. So, by mentioning them, it gives them an alert, it sends them an email, a bit like Facebook, it's the same sort of thing. So it's great, that's nice, it's a nice touch, and it's easy, it's really easy. We sort of week in the life kicked off last week, we're doing our pre-joiner stuff now, where we just give them a real flavour of what it's like, so what can I expect when I join, and we're going to see Cambridge, we've gone there, and every sort of location we've got, we do a week in the life of like audit, tax and budget whatever. So they get an idea of what to expect. So that's communities really, that is the biggest thing that we've done to really drive drive the candidate experience. But there's also before we have a thing called Spilling the Beans. This was something we did a while ago actually. This is essentially before they apply, they can go on Spilling the Beans and really see what campus is about. We talked about deselection on my tables, and this is essentially what that is. Gives them a real life, honest and genuine insight into the life of Grant Thornton, because it's not easy, there's some fun stuff like football tournaments and great things happen at Grant. Genuinely, it's a great place to work. But actually, as a trainee, it's really hard. You've got to do your exams, you've got to work, it's really tough. So we want to make sure they know that. It's actually, we give our current trainees complete access, we don't own this, we don't look at this. I actually have never reviewed any of this content that goes out. It's a bit scary. But we trust these guys, we give them loads of training, our media team work with them. But these are honest posts by trainees who say, look, I've been through this. Actually, coping with exams and managing my time is really difficult, but this is how I did it and this is how I'm succeeding. So loads of stuff. And it's support, again, it underpins this whole community, but this is a really good early engager. And a deselector, which helps. Okay, so the next C, coaching. And we're really lucky that we work with the Project Box. They're essentially, they are an outsourced organisation, like an RPO, but it's a really cool model they've got. So their owner was, she had twins and didn't really want to go back to the corporate life, but was like, itching to do something, and she set up her own business. And essentially what they have a lot of, actually they have tons of returning mothers who work flexibly in their own time. So they do a lot of our coaching, because we have HireView as our video interviewing partner, and at either end of HireView, we have coaching, so we bookend HireView with human coaching. So we have a pre-call, and then we have a feedback call. It's kind of where we go, because we didn't want to lose that personal touch, but we needed to manage the volume. So we have like a 10-minute, call before, and then they book themselves onto a call after feedback, whether that's a yes, no, or maybe, which I'll talk about in a second. So the Project Box have enabled us to do that flexibly. So it's really helped keep this coaching mentality going. So we're able to genuinely invest in them and give them advice before, tell them what to expect. And we did that 3 years ago because HireView was brand new, no one was using it. So no one really knew what a digital interview was, so we thought we needed to tell people. That's evolved. People know what digital, especially these sort of demographic we're targeting, they kind of know what a digital interview is, and they've probably done a few. So we give them a little bit on what a digital interview is, but we also do loads on what to expect at GT, what the process is going to be, what's coming up next, what we'll do after this, so like next step stuff, which is great. They do their digital, and then it's bookended again with some more coaching, and that coaching is either a yes, no, or maybe so we go from a digital interview. If we're not sure, we give them another chance. So the yeses, they book themselves onto another next steps call that says, hey, this is what's coming up next. For the no's, they book themselves on a feedback call, and we say, look, this is why we're rejecting you, and we actually physically tell them why. And it's booked via a diary system, so again, the project box can do this in the evenings or at weekends because they work flexibly, which massively suits our students. And if we're not sure, we'll book them on a next steps call, and we'll probe deeper because we know not everyone can shine on digital platforms. Some people just need to speak or be probed, and then we'll make a decision for yes or no, and we'll act accordingly. So then, we use technology to allow them to schedule on to the next step, otherwise it's unmanageable. That's telephone feedback is there. So the coaching also happens before their assessment day, which is something that my team then pick up, and we coach them before we write them to the assessment day. We also have peer-to-peer coaching tools, something we call Candidate Connector. So we link candidates who have got a bit way through the process, and we link them to buddies internally, and those buddies just reach out to them and say, hey, give us a shot, whatever you want. Sometimes they get a few phone calls, sometimes they get like a bit of an email. It depends how the candidate wants to act. We offer them a buddy essentially from a sort of midpoint onwards. So we try to set them up for success and give them like a standout personal experience because we know we're not always their first choice. They apply to Grant Thornton and they might be like, yeah, I kind of like KPMG, they pay more, PwC's brand's amazing and they can get me to Australia in 5 years. We say, okay, we're a little bit different, we might not pay as much, we might not, I don't know. And we might not have that brand, but actually what we're going to give you is that standout personal experience. We're going to tell you exactly what it's like here, and hopefully you're going to love it. So we're quite honest. Moving on to the next C, champions. I've kind of touched on it a little bit, so I won't dwell, but we have campus community managers, and we have schools champions, and we have a bunch of other things. But what we do as well is a really good network of schools champions, so usually alumni come from that school, through our school leader program, they actively re-engage with their school with the team, so we're able to sort of reach quite a lot of schools around the country, and talk to young people about actually maybe you don't need to go to uni, maybe you can come and do a school leaver program with us because we'll accelerate you through ACCA or whatever. We have campus community managers, which I talked about our target unis, so really important that we are targeting slightly different unis for social mobility reasons and quality reasons. So we've got them around the country at different unis and we're able to sort of, again, connect them via the community. We can connect them to candidates who are applying. And they don't just do lecture shouts and things like that. They genuinely talent spot at events or presentations and they might say, hey, you've got some really good skills. Why don't you think about Grant Thornton? They would love your sort of background and who you are and what you do. So that's cool. We also partner with a company called Pathway CTM for schools engagement. They're quite new. They're like a social enterprise led by an ex-school teacher. And he gets us into some great schools who are really engaging with people who are genuinely thinking about different paths that isn't university because we're really active in that space. We also work a lot with the Social Mobility Foundation, I kind of talked about them before, but it's a big thing for us, and the buddy system that we've got as well. So some of the commercials, so you kind of hear people saying, oh, this must be expensive, and how do you manage this? Actually, we did this as well because we had to scale up. So we actually hired 17% more trainees last year. This season than last season. So we had to scale up, so we had to do things slightly differently as well. And we've also shaved some time off the time to hire. Now this isn't the most important metric for us, but we were running around 41 days, which we did feel was too long. So we've got it down to 30, and I feel this summer we can reduce that by keeping the quality up as well. So it's an evolving beast. We never went for a big bang, and a Unilever have done like a 2-day thing, Launchpad for KPMG is kind of out there now. We know that millennials can be a bit impatient, so we are working on that further, but we feel for the extra coaching and the sort of involvement they get through the process, 31 days isn't bad in the training world. I'm sure people do it quicker. So our quality as well, the final round assessment day last season did go up. So our conversion rate, which was way low before this, it's gone from 60 to 64. I'm not sure where we're going to land this season, probably about the same if I'm really honest, but we're on the increase and that's really important to us. Actually, the quality of the people that land at assessment day has got higher and the analytics to prove that, which is great. And we've got significant business time saving as well because our partners and our directors and our senior managers are doing less time, they're seeing less people. So these are all, any of you in professional services or law know that your senior guys are very chargeable and it's something we're reminded of every day. these guys charge a lot to be out with our clients. We need to make sure that their time is used really, really well. So actually by increasing the quality, we know that they're spending less time doing this as well, and seeing guys that they really want to be speaking to as well. So we think we've got some cost savings of about 181k, which is brilliant for us as a team. We don't have a huge budget. And we are seeing a decrease in our reneging decline rates, with a backdrop of them increasing generally anyway. In the market, we know that it's becoming more and more prevalent that people are sort of accepting 2 or 3 jobs at the minute, especially in training roles. So, yeah. So how we're different, we choose to invest those that invest in us, so those that have applied and have gone through the screening, we think they've chosen to invest in us, so we want to invest back into them. It's a key point of differentiation. I think that's the most important thing. And we really want to make sure they do get that standout personal experience. So this was a bit of a mouthful, this one, sorry, but our firm's vision is to shape the vibrant economy. That's what we're working on. We really want people to succeed and grow. So we do want to create that vibrant talent environment as well, where our candidates can grow, succeed, and try and find the right opportunity. So we are down to earth, inclusive, personal. We're really changing the professional services firm, so we try and get that across as well. So some of the results really quickly. We are seeing candidates prioritise us, which is what wasn't happening before. And they're telling us, oh, look, I've got 3 offers, but I'm going to choose you guys because of all this stuff I got. Feedback from candidates tells us they've actually never been through such a high-touch personal experience. They regularly tweet or email us in to say, or tell us at assessment day, I've never had this anywhere else. And we know we're totally cool with the fact we're not everyone's first choice when they apply, but we kind of quickly become that through the process. Not everyone, obviously, but a lot of people. And the Bridge Group recently told us that we have a more socially diverse intake. Academics has absolutely helped that, and they can evidence that actually the guys who came in under academics are performing just as well in their exams as well, so that's another story, but really good. So yeah, some of my most glowing feedback is from those who haven't received a job, which I think is great. Awards, we literally to show you what we won, but the in-house, I wasn't even there, rubbish, but anyway, they had a good night. We won the best candidate experience at the Recruit Awards this year as well, and then last year we got the best selection strategy at the AGR event, so that was nice to get some recognition. And we feel like we need to evolve this to keep getting out there in the industry and pushing the boundaries. We've got some good ideas for this summer of how we're going to make this even better with the sort of slim budget that we work on. So it's just been creative, I guess, really. And I guess Alfie, you want to hear about Alfie more than me. He's on the mend. He has to wear a jacket because he keeps biting his stitches. But he's okay, and he has to be on the lead all the time. He looks a bit grumpy. But basically, he goes, just let me grow around. But my experience was absolutely made easy by support from experts, involvement in the community. I'm still in that community, and it's actually massively helpful because I'm speaking to someone who's got a spaniel, who's 9 weeks in, who's saying, actually, he's starting to run again, and I was like, great, you can see what's happening. So that's been brilliant. Peer-to-peer coaching, I guess that's a bit of a stretch, but I am getting that from people who are in the same situation. I've got sympathetic insurance company as well, because it wasn't cheap. Obviously, a 5-hour operation with an emergency situation is not cheap. And the surgeon came recommended, so again, someone else had to go through this with him. Someone actually said to him that he's a good guy and he'll do a really jump through it. So, yeah, that's me. Any questions?